a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
Although Jenna Ortega, a fan favorite, is set to replace Rachel Zegler in the highly anticipated Snow White remake, the question of whether Oda can step in and bring the magic still lingers as everyone watches this contentious remake. Rachel Zegler may have garnered all the headlines for the Snow White remake, but not for the reasons Disney had hoped. The film faced massive backlash even during production. Rachel couldn't have done it. Disney Snow White has recently gained attention for her stance on the original Snow White character. Zegler has made it clear that she doesn't agree with the classic story, which didn't sit well with fans who grew up watching the OG. And just when things were getting hot for her, one of her pals from the Latinx community was onlinely attacked after an event with Zegler. Talk about doubling down on the drama, huh? However, Disney noticed all the negative publicity coming from Zegler and did not like what she was saying. There were rumors that they even considered replacing Jenna Ortega, but Jenna Ortega isn't exactly Snow White, so fans were quick to point out that this was just another woke idea. Disney, after all, knows how to create a classic. Some of their films, like 2019's The Lion King, 2016's The Jungle Book, and 2015's Cinderella, have excellent graphics, while others just have charm. A haunted mansion with a soggy sandwich, but there were also heavy hitters like Beauty and the Beast, A Vacation from Spells, and Pirates of the Caribbean. For Emma Watson, when Johnny Depp did Johnny Depp brought in a lot of money at the box office and gave fans a reason to put on their nostalgia goggles. The Warriors became a little choppy for Disney. Don't forget about The Little Mermaid from 2023, where Halle Bailey splashed onto the screen as an Ariel. In recent years, the discourse surrounding inclusivity in media, particularly in family-oriented entertainment like Disney films, has sparked significant debate. While many celebrate the strides toward representation and diversity, not everyone is on board with these changes. Critics argue that Disney has embraced what they term a woke agenda, claiming this shift in storytelling has begun to alienate some segments of its audience. A notable example of this backlash came with the release of Strange World, a film featuring LGBTQ characters, which ignited discussions about the implications of such narratives in children's programming. This controversy gained momentum when Jenna Barbie, a fifth-grade teacher in Florida, found herself at the center of a scrutiny storm. Reports emerged that the State Department of Education questioned her for exposing her students to Strange World, which includes an openly gay character. The situation escalated further when the school district released a statement to parents, clarifying that although the LGBTQ representation is not the film's primary focus, it does contain scenes in which a male character expresses romantic feelings for another male character. This revelation led to the school district's decision to halt screenings of the film, pending an investigation into whether further corrective actions were necessary. This incident underscores a larger trend in society, where the acceptance of progressive values meets resistance, particularly in educational environments. For many parents and educators, the idea of introducing children to LGBTQ narratives is a delicate subject. They fear that such exposure might conflict with their personal beliefs or the values they wish to impart to their children. Conversely, advocates for inclusivity argue that representation in media is essential for fostering understanding and acceptance among younger generations. They contend that exposure to diverse characters and stories equips children with the empathy needed to navigate a world that is increasingly diverse. Critics of Disney's approach argue that the company is prioritizing political correctness over storytelling quality. They suggest that the inclusion of LGBTQ characters often feels forced or tokenized, detracting from the overall narrative experience. This sentiment reflects a broader discomfort among some audiences who feel that the rapid shift toward inclusivity does not resonate with their values or the traditional narratives they grew up with. The backlash surrounding Strange World serves as a microcosm of this tension, illustrating how efforts toward representation can sometimes alienate certain viewers. On the other hand, supporters of Disney's initiatives argue that these films are vital in creating a more inclusive society. They assert that children should have access to stories that reflect the reality of the world around them, including diverse sexual orientations and identities. Supporters claim that stories like those in Strange World can foster conversations about love, acceptance, and the importance of being true to oneself. By presenting characters who navigate their identities openly, these films serve as a source of validation for LGBTQ youth and their allies, who often struggle to see themselves represented in mainstream media. The discussion surrounding the portrayal of LGBTQ characters in children's films is emblematic of the broader cultural divide in contemporary society. As more families and communities engage with the changing landscape of representation, the pushback against perceived wokeness raises questions about the balance between inclusivity and traditional storytelling. Critics worry that children may be exposed to concepts they are not ready to understand, while advocates emphasize the importance of normalization and representation in fostering acceptance. Ultimately, the situation involving Jenna Barbie and Strange World reflects an ongoing cultural struggle over how stories are told and whose voices are represented in mainstream media. As schools and communities grapple with these issues, it is clear that the conversation around inclusivity in storytelling is far from settled. The outcome of such discussions may well shape the future of media and education, influencing what stories are told and who gets to tell them. As Disney continues to navigate this complex landscape, the challenge will be to balance creative expression with the diverse perspectives and values of its audience. It remains to be seen how these dynamics will unfold, but one thing is certain: the dialogue around inclusivity in children's media is critical, and its impact will resonate for generations to come. Disney has been making more of an effort to depict the real world in their films, which brings us back to Rachel Zegler and her Snow White drama. Zegler had the audacity to challenge the traditional version of Snow White's story, the one in which she plays the joyful little housewife to the seven dwarves while waiting for her Prince Charming, and it turns out that this didn't sit well with many of Disney's fans. How dare she suggest that Snow White doesn't need her prince to save her? Otherwise, then I'd be forced to become a homemaker, right? The upcoming Snow White movie will include 7 mystical creatures instead of the dwarfs we all grew up with, and fans aren't having it. These are the 2 major items that set off the fandom. People are upset that Disney is denying little people parts in big-budget movies that they might have had. And then there's the second shocking revelation: Snow White will never have a prince, because neither he nor she will feel secure. In the ever-evolving landscape of modern storytelling, few characters are as iconic as Snow White. Traditionally portrayed as a damsel in distress, her narrative has undergone significant transformations to reflect contemporary values. In this latest adaptation, Snow White is depicted as a multifaceted character who not only dreams of finding true love, but also aspires to be the leader she knows she can be. No longer is she the passive figure waiting for a prince to rescue her. Instead, she takes charge of her own destiny. This shift has sparked fervent debates among fans and critics alike, particularly concerning the portrayal of femininity and empowerment. According to Zegler and Galato, who play the roles of the Wicked Queen, and Andrew Burnap, who takes on the role of the charming rescuer, this new iteration of Snow White has raised eyebrows and ignited conversations around themes of empowerment and feminism. In this reimagining, Snow White emerges not just as a romantic figure but as the architect of her own story, one where she is no longer in need of saving. The message is clear: Snow White is stepping into her own power, embracing her leadership potential, while navigating the complexities of her identity. However, the decision to present Snow White in this light has led to a backlash from some fans of the franchise. On social media, particularly platforms like TikTok, discussions around Disney's portrayal of the character have taken a sharp turn. Users have expressed concerns that the new film promotes a narrative some are calling pseudo-feminism. Critics argue that while the intention may be to empower young girls, the execution feels forced and disingenuous. They believe that Snow White's new identity pushes an agenda that discourages traditional notions of love and the idea of a happily ever after, which many argue is a vital component of fairy tales. According to detractors, Disney is sending a confusing message to young girls. By emphasizing that they cannot be saved, or that they should not desire a fairy tale ending, the narrative seems to undermine the aspirations of those who have grown up dreaming of romantic love and adventure. This shift in focus appears overwhelming to some, as if Disney is challenging the very foundations of the beloved fairy tale genre. Snow White's once simple dream of finding a prince is replaced with a more complex aspiration of leadership and self-empowerment, leaving some fans feeling alienated. Just when it seemed the discussion around Rachel Zegler's portrayal of Snow White could not become more heated, her performance has become a focal point of scrutiny. While some applaud her for embracing a softer, more traditional role, others feel that this depiction makes her less relatable and aspirational for young girls. The character's evolution, from a damsel in distress to a powerful leader, leaves certain audiences feeling disconnected from the essence of what they once loved about the story. Adding fuel to the fire, TikTok became a platform for this debate when an account named Celebrity Corner posted a 3-part series that dissected the new portrayal of Snow White. The videos garnered significant attention, stirring emotions and sparking discussions across the platform. Users expressed their opinions passionately, with some defending the new direction while others decried it as a misguided attempt to modernize a classic tale. Supporters of the new narrative argue that empowering young girls to be leaders and pursue their dreams is crucial in today's world. They contend that the film's emphasis on self-discovery and agency resonates more deeply with contemporary audiences, reflecting the realities that many young women face today. By encouraging girls to seek their own paths and challenge societal norms, this new adaptation of Snow White could serve as a catalyst for important conversations about gender roles and personal empowerment. Conversely, detractors worry that the abandonment of romantic aspirations in favor of leadership messages may result in a loss of magic within the fairy tale genre. For many, fairy tales have always served as a source of comfort, escapism, and hope. Elements they feel are compromised when characters reject the notion of love as part of their journey. This tension between maintaining the charm of traditional narratives and embracing modern feminist ideals poses a significant challenge for Disney and other storytellers seeking to resonate with a new generation. Ultimately, the ongoing discourse surrounding Snow White reflects broader societal conversations about gender, empowerment, and the changing landscape of storytelling. As Disney navigates these complex themes, it must consider how to honor the cherished aspects of beloved tales while also fostering messages that resonate with contemporary audiences. Whether audiences embrace this new version of Snow White or lament the loss of her classic narrative, it is clear that the conversation around female empowerment and representation in media is more important than ever. As Snow White steps into her role as a leader, the question remains: can she balance her dreams of love with her newfound aspirations for independence? The answer may shape the future of fairy tales for generations to come. Claiming that Jenna Ortega was going to take over as the beloved Disney princess from Zegler, the post even went so far as to suggest that Oda was already in the midst of reshoots for the movie, implying a significant change behind the scenes. The TikTok video featured Aura looking thrilled about the chance, leading fans to believe she was the next in line for Dawn, the well-known fairy tale dress. According to the post, this sudden change could be detrimental news for California. Began connecting it to her exit from Paddington 3 in 2024. Of course, those who follow the industry are aware that Ceci's departure from the project was brought on by the 2023 strike that forced nearly all Hollywood productions to halt operations. But in the world of social media, information can be twisted quite quickly. To heighten the tension, a TikTok user went further, asserting that Disney was about to reveal this momentous change with a future trailer that depicted a scene in which Jenna Ortega assumes the conversation surrounding Disney's live-action adaptation of Snow White has become increasingly contentious, particularly following rumors of a potential casting change. Initially, many fans expressed their preference for Ortega over the original choice, Rachel Zegler, which generated significant excitement within the online community. However, the narrative took a darker turn as Seltzer faced a wave of trolling and backlash that intensified as soon as she was cast in the role. The scrutiny she endured placed her in an even harsher spotlight, drawing attention to the complexities of representation in modern storytelling. Critics have directed a significant portion of their ire towards Seltzer's ethnicity, as she is of Latina descent. For some, this casting choice deviated from their traditional conception of Snow White, who has historically been depicted as a character with pale skin. This backlash has sparked intense debates about representation in media and the implications of casting decisions that challenge established norms. Detractors argue that Snow White should adhere to the physical characteristics described in the original fairy tale, specifically the iconic line about her skin being as white as snow. This insistence on maintaining rigid interpretations of classic characters often overlooks the evolving nature of storytelling and cultural representation. However, supporters of Zegler quickly rallied to her defense, emphasizing that the essence of Snow White extends far beyond mere skin color. They argue that the character's spirit is rooted in themes of kindness, bravery, and resilience, qualities that are not defined by physical appearance. According to film fans, the world has changed, so should beloved characters' interpretations. In a global society that increasingly values diversity, the inclusion of a Latina actress in such a pivotal role can be seen as a step toward broader representation in the entertainment industry. The debate has highlighted the complexities and challenges that come with adapting classic stories for contemporary audiences. While some viewers cling to traditional depictions of characters, others celebrate the opportunity to see those characters reimagined in ways that reflect a more diverse and inclusive world. This clash of perspectives has led to heated discussions across social media platforms, with both sides passionately defending their views. Supporters of Zegler argue that casting decisions should reflect the rich tapestry of cultures and backgrounds that exist in our society today, while critics often lament the perceived erosion of authenticity in the retelling of classic tales. Moreover, the negative attention directed at Zegler is indicative of a larger issue within the entertainment industry: the scrutiny that actors of color face when cast in roles traditionally associated with white characters. This scrutiny can create an exhausting cycle of pressure where actors must continuously defend their presence in roles that some feel should be reserved for those who fit a specific mold. Zegler's journey as an actress has become an unfortunate chapter as she navigates the difficult landscape of public opinion and expectation. It is critical to consider the broader implications of these discussions as the debate continues to unfold. They underscore the evolving nature of storytelling and the importance of representation in media. The backlash against Zegler and the subsequent defense by her supporters reflect a society grappling with issues of identity, belonging, and the narratives that shape our cultural landscape. The heart of the matter lies in understanding that beloved characters can be reinterpreted in ways that honor their original spirit, while also embracing the diversity of the world we live in. Ultimately, the conversation around Zegler's casting and the portrayal of Snow White is a reflection of the ongoing struggle to balance tradition with modernity in storytelling. As audiences become more vocal about their preferences and expectations, the entertainment industry must navigate these complexities carefully. It is essential to recognize that the magic of stories like Snow White lies not only in their characters but also in their ability to evolve and resonate with new generations. By embracing a more inclusive vision of storytelling, creators can breathe new life into these classic tales while fostering understanding and acceptance in a diverse world. Snow White's journey, like that of her latest interpreter, will undoubtedly continue to inspire discussion and reflection as it unfolds on screen. Some are urging Orga to accept the position. What does this signify for the future Snow White movie? While others supported Zegler, saying that she was picked for a reason and should have a fair chance without the burden of false suspicions hanging over her. It's difficult to determine at this time if Disney really intends to upend things with a last-minute recast, or whether this is simply another instance of TikTok escalating a rumor into a major controversy. But one thing is certain: both Zegler and Orga have found themselves in the midst of things. With a media craze that doesn't seem to be abating, and as the internet keeps debating who should portray Snow White, it brings up a more important question. Should our cherished fairy tale characters adapt to the times, or should they stick to their original representations? In any event, with so much noise around the movie, the debate surrounding it has transformed what was supposed to be a nostalgic Disney remake into a battleground for topics like representing identity and Hollywood's continual balancing act between tradition and modernity. It will be interesting to see how Disney reacts, particularly as fans continue to voice their opinions about who should play the iconic role in the end, Zegler or Orga. Will this controversy have an impact on the box office success of the movie? Or will Disney's vision of a more contemporary Snow White ultimately win over audiences? Let us know in the comments section below.